Kariba, a water wilderness at the heart of southern Africa, Zimbabwe's inland Mediterranean, with a taste of raw Africa and an infrastructure geared for tourism. From lakeside lodges to lake cruises, there are few places on the African continent more spectacular. Launched in early 2018, Lake Kariba's newest luxury cruiser took to the waters. The African Dream has set the standard for safari cruising and caters to a discerning international clientele. But like any great creation, her final beauty would start with an idea and a meeting of minds.
I remember the original designs that came back from Sterling, which is the company that they use for design, came back, and it was rather, in my mind, it wasn't sexy enough, and I think that boats need to be sexy. And I remember sitting with Patrick Schmitter, the oldest member of the family, and I was trying to explain to him, I have no French, and he's got limited English, and I remember trying to say to him, no, the boat needs to be gorgeous and sexy. He looked at me, sexy, he says. I said, yeah, like Bridget Bardot. Ah, he says. And we had a lot of fun actually, just changing the way she looked, and I think she's sexy.
Construction on the 109-foot hull began at the GDI shipyard in Harare in late 2016. Scheduled to take a year to complete, the African Dream was finished ahead of schedule and left Harare late in 2017. Weighing a staggering 103 tons, she was loaded onto a multi-axle trailer, which in itself tipped the scales at 100 tons and began her marathon road trip to Kariba. The nearly 400-kilometer road trip from Harare would require an entourage of technical staff, escorts, and time. Wider than most roads in Zimbabwe, a rolling roadblock moved ahead of the African Dream, with her crew halting traffic, dropping power lines and other utilities as she went along. With her top deck removed to enable her passage beneath such, the going was low, often taking a whole day to travel just a few kilometers. It was decided that no trees were to be felled along the way, necessitating careful trimming of branches and bush so as not to damage the hull. With segments of the trailer independently steerable, the expert crew negotiated some of the most difficult and treacherous terrain Africa has to offer, not least of all 77 kilometers of twisting Zambezi escarpment. Its narrow road and steep cliff edges, a nearly 3,000 feet drop from Zimbabwe's plateau to the hot lowlands of the Zambezi Valley below. During the entire 3-week journey to Kariba, the crews concluded their days on the roadside, sleeping beneath the African stars. Once at Kariba, a suitable point was chosen of which to launch the African Dream. Her top deck was refitted, air conditioning installed, as well as generators and a host of other equipment. This and the launching process took 10 days, while crews fought the elements and other challenges presented to them. 200 tons of ship sitting on the relatively soft lakeside inevitably sank into the soft sand as the riggers fought frantically against the clock, using powerful rams to push the boat off the trailer, inching her ever closer to the water. Giant tubes and rollers were placed beneath her. In the final stages, tugboats pulled her gently into the waiting waters of Kariba.
People have asked me, how did we get to this stage? We launched a boat on the Chobe River many years back, and it was a great success. And it actually was so successful that it ended up being fully booked all the time. And at a travel show, I met up with Patrick Schmitter, the oldest member of the family, and Patrick said to me, "Brett, we just can't get onto your old boat." And I said, "You know what? It's a problem. It's just so magnificent. It's full." He said, "What do we do?" I said, "Well, the only thing we can do is build a new one, another one." And that's what we did. He took me and introduced me to his family, the Schmitter family, a lovely, very cohesive family, and have had great success in the river boating industry. It's the largest independently owned fleet in the world. And I was delighted to meet the whole family and have a lovely lunch with them. And I loved their interaction. I loved the way they loved each other. I thought that was beautiful. They've got the experience, the passion, and the know-how.
From her launch, she was taken to and moored at the GDI harbour, where the final fitting and completion were undertaken before her christening ceremony. In just days, she was ready and repositioned at a popular harbour in Kariba, ready to welcome her first guests. As the band played in the muggy heat of Marineland Harbour, guests enjoyed welcoming cocktails, delicious snacks of Kariba bream and crocodile tail. After which the gathering was addressed by owners and staff.
I pray a blessing over the
and a blessing said over her future voyages. Just before boarding, as is customary for a new vessel, a bottle of champagne was broken over her bows and guests hustled on board for an early evening departure. Nosing her way out onto Kariba, she set sail for an overnight stop on a nearby island.
When you put something that's as beautiful as this in a place as beautiful as this, it's just a double whammy. I've learned a lot over the years of doing different projects, and I think that this is a culmination of all the years of the Schmitter family's experience, my experience, my feel for Africa, their feel for what the European client wants, and I think we've managed to marry this beautifully and have created something that's absolutely unique. I'm very proud to be sitting on board what must be one of the most magnificent boats in this most magnificent place.
Typically, the African Dream embarks on a 3-day voyage through the eastern basin of Kariba, up the majestic Sanyati River with its towering gorges, along the Mosi-oa-tunya National Park where wildlife abounds, and back to harbour after overnighting at Antelope Island. During the cruise, guests are treated to game viewing from African Dream's mini cruiser, or are whisked away on safari vehicles for a morning drive into the national park. Game abounds. Kariba truly is a living Eden, boasting incredible wildlife and bird life. After the 3-day Kariba cruise, guests embark on the remaining 3 days of the 6-day safari onto the Chobe River in Botswana, where they are hosted at Cascades Island Lodge.
We've also included a beautiful little lodge that we've rebuilt as well. It's a little island with only 8 villas on it, each with its own pool. Beautifully appointed, and we do a circuit which is 3 nights at the lodge and 3 nights on the boat, and then from there we go to Victoria Falls, one of the 7 wonders of the world, and we experience that. So it really is a beautiful way of enjoying Namibia, Botswana and Zimbabwe in one package, one bundle, and seeing what I feel is probably the best of the best. Zimbabwe, I grew up here, I love it. I have another riverboat here as well, where we as a family used to always come on holiday, so it's a special place in my heart. So I'd love to get people to come and have a look at what I think is really Africa's little paradise, and we've got a great circuit that we can use to show you that. Our food is world class, but with an African flair. My partners have flown out some wonderful people to help train, so that our service ethic is absolutely European and on point. So we've got the food, the service, the vessel, and of course this is a backdrop. What a winning combination. So we're looking forward to having a lot of people on board who are going to appreciate what we've had so much fun in creating.
The African dream is indeed a marvel of shared passions, French engineering, and African ingenuity.